This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, we review Wes Craven's 1984 slasher classic, A Nightmare on Elm Street, plus reactions to the latest episodes of Agatha All Along and The Penguin, and more, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, October 21st, 2024.
Now listen here, bitches. You say you're looking for a podcast about comic books and TV and movies, but you don't know where to go? Well, stop whining and tune into the Jock and Nerd podcast. These are the only guys you'll ever need. They're jockey, they're nerdy, and they're bitches, like you. So keep it on the Jock and Nerd podcast. You can run, but you can't hide, bitch.
Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up!
We talk it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We talk it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert.
Oh yeah!
Hey, what's up, listener? How you doing? Thank you for pressing play, and welcome to the Jock and Nerd podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the jock.
He's the nerd.
And joining us, a fella who's been drinking lots of coffee to stay awake. Not to stay away from Freddy, but to achieve the opposite of whiskey dick. Rug boy, what is the opposite of whiskey dick here?
Well, let's see. So when you drink whiskey,
Right.
your dick gets
It
soft.
goes
Well, I
sloppy,
thought
yeah.
the opposite would be if you drink a lot of coffee, you get coffee dick.
Geek boner. That's the condition where your dick is just vibrating so fast it can phase through walls.
Yeah, it's like a belt sander. Yeah, I took the paint off of a few things, of a couple of helmets that I had.
It's the original Viagra, people. Coffee dick.
Jesus.
Yeah, I removed all of the Boba Fett paint off of my helmet
You get a nice
My wi-
buff sander.
with my coffee dick.
Anyways, is that the opposite of whiskey dick? I don't know. It's an
It's like
experiment.
the Flash. He like phases through walls.
Yeah,
and-
exactly. But it's only your penis can do that. So the rest of you is stuck on the other side.
Yeah, women don't really enjoy it.
No,
as-
no.
You'd think they, because they like vibrating
It's
things.
not very useful coffee dick, but we're going to try. We're going to try. All right. The dick joke's out of the way, gentlemen.
We did it.
We did it. Show's over. No, we can continue. Let's get into it.
The Jock and Nerd
Podcast.
Listen, we signed the contract when we started the show. You got to start with a dick joke. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do.
Why
about it.
break tradition? We've been doing it since the first episode.
Exactly.
Not the first, but like, whatever when I started.
It's a thing. Anyways, this week, fellas, we're going to run the same play we did last week. 2 episode reviews, a scary movie. We're going to run it again. So
Run it back, as the kids say.
Run it back, y'all. Yeah. So, again, listener, if you are
I like to
not
laugh at that.
caught up, if you're not caught up on Agatha All Along or The Penguin,
Wait, what just happened? What he had to
He
get off.
says
like,
something and just laughs. He goes, "We're going to run it back." And I said, "We're going to run it back." He just goes, "We're going to run it back."
and that made you laugh.
Yes.
can I help it?
All right, I need to know what's going on
I'm
here.
just easily entertained. Is what the problem is. Look, if you don't want to be spoiled about the latest episodes of Agatha All Along or The Penguin or one or the other, I will reiterate what I said last week. There are chapter markers in the file. There's timestamps in the description. You could just jump around wherever you want, and then you watch it, you come back, jump around,
House of Pain, jump around.
or like crisscross jump.
Oh, which one do you like better?
Oh, definitely House of Pain. Crisscross, they were okay. I mean, it was impressive they were kids, but the whole wearing the overalls backwards really bugged the shit out of me.
No, what song?
It was hard to piss.
It does. It's hard. What do you mean? What song?
Crisscross was just Jump. The other one
Oh,
was
yeah,
Jump
everybody
Around.
jump. But Jump Around by House of Pain, definitely a better song. I could do that whole song word for word right now. No problem.
I actually like both of those songs a lot. I would say Jump Around is probably the more hype song, but Crisscross will make you jump. I like the song too.
Yeah. Believe that. I mean, those guys were like one hit wonders. I think they had another song. I can't remember.
Did they sing their own song, or was it a Milli Vanilli?
They didn't Milli Vanilli it. They were actually singing.
Okay,
they were singing.
Are they still alive?
I don't know. They would be probably in their 40s. They'd probably be all right.
Like they're due for like a comeback, right? They got to be showing up somewhere.
I don't think you could be a 40-year-old and wear backwards overalls and make it look cool. I don't think that's possible, but they could try. Anyways, this is not an old school hip hop podcast. We're going to start right here with Agatha All Along. Latest episode, episode 6, titled Familiar by Thy Side. All these titles, I realized, I think are lyrics to that Ballad of the Witch's Road song.
Sure.
Anthony, give us the synopsis. This is last week we had the shortest episode yet, and this is the longest episode yet at about 50 minutes.
The synopsis of this one? Well, we left off the last episode, which I didn't watch and review with you guys at the same time, but I did watch it.
Okay.
I don't know how much I paid attention, but I did watch it. And we left off by understanding at the end that the teen, Billy, is potentially someone we know. And he has gained powers, and he's thrown all the witches into mud. And now, in this episode, it is Billy's backstory, or William's backstory. And we get an understanding of who he is, how he came to be, how he came to get the powers and become... You hit the spoiler button already, right?
Spoiler alert.
Become Wiccan, or Billy Maximoff from the comic.
I actually didn't hit the spoiler, so that was a good call.
There you go.
Yes, the backstory.
So it's similar to if you've been watching The Penguin, It's been similar to the Sophia episode that we got last week.
I had a feeling last week. I was like, I bet we're going to get Billy's backstory next episode. And I will say, The Penguin, the show's been cooking this whole time. I feel like Agatha's starting to cook a little. It's starting to simmer. It's starting to boil. Because they actually explained shit.
Oh, shit.
And it was kind of made sense. And I was like, oh, look at you. Finally, we're back to building the things, explaining things. And yeah, just like the Sophia episode, we get his backstory and then events that happened from his point of view that we already saw from the beginning. They did the same thing in The Penguin. What did you think, Anthony, of overall of this episode?
Leading up to this episode, I mean, I've been watching Agatha out of obligation only. A lot of the episodes I've just had in the background, not really paying attention. This episode is the first episode I've watched of Agatha where I was actually pretty much engaged the entire time.
Oh.
And while I don't say that the episodes prior were bad, I just don't think they were really for me. I think this one actually I enjoyed, and I was thoroughly entertained by it. So
wow, nice.
I give Agatha credit. I liked this episode. I liked learning. I thought the story of Billy was intriguing. I liked the kind of the melding of him being William Kaplan and then getting into this accident and then becoming a vessel for Billy Maximoff, and in a weird way kind of made sense.
Makes sense.
And I enjoyed the character, and I enjoyed learning about him. And I am more intrigued now by the show with the dynamic of having Billy and Agatha hanging out.
Interesting. Ruggs, what your thoughts on episode 6? How's it hitting you?
I was perplexed a little bit because I don't really know the comic book accuracy of this stuff. And like, I know that I've read Wiccan in Young Avengers when it came out a while back, and I don't remember that much backstory. I think this is completely different because of what they did with WandaVision and all that stuff. So I can't speak to it being comic accurate.
Sure.
So that's number one. Number two, I don't know if it's movie accurate, because I would wonder that Wanda has been trying to get her sons back, and how this would happen organically, that the kid's body would go into another body. I don't know how organic that is to what
That's a good point.
Wanda Maximoff's powers are. And either there's a missing piece that we don't know about, or they just kind of like wrote it that way, which is okay. Well, I got to go along for the ride, I guess, but it doesn't make sense with what doesn't track with what I've seen in the Multiverse of Madness and, you know, all the other stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm a little confused by it, but it was handled very well. It was acted well, and the tone was good, and it was interesting. So I think it was okay. I just, it left me a little bit like, is that like track with the rest of it? I don't know. You have to take it at face value, which, if you're going to give praise about the episode, there's a lot to praise, but I'm not sure about the accuracy or how it goes along with the rest of the story.
So, a couple of things there. The comic history has been retconned a number of times, about 3 times, the creation of Billy of Wiccan and Speed. So what they just did is kind of streamlined it, simplified it. In the comic book, Mephisto is involved. They retcon it to shards of Mephisto were used, and then they retcon that again to know it actually became a soul and created humans. So it's convoluted comic shit. So I like this streamlining. And as far as does it track, that is an interesting question because it's all really the catalyst is Lilia at William's bar mitzvah, reading his palm, seeing his lifeline is broken in two, seeing him in the crystal ball, and then putting the sigil on him to where even she doesn't remember who it is. So the moment after the crash where William Kaplan dies and Billy, Wanda is essentially responsible for the death of Billy and the death of William and then the rebirth of Billy because of the death that she kind of caused because they were distracted looking at the hex come down. It's her fault they crashed the car. But since the sigil is on, she wouldn't know. Should she know that Billy's out there? Would she sense him in Multiverse of Madness instead of going through all that? Because he was in Westview the whole time during the movie.
Yeah.
That's the only I didn't even think of that when Ruggs brought it up, but that's a great point because at the end of the end of WandaVision, she's looking for her sons and you can hear them crying out as children. Yeah. Yet in this story, we're led to believe that the voice of Billy or the soul of Billy went into a teenager.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be a child. And then in Doctor Strange, she was still looking for her children and couldn't find them and then scanned and found another variation of the multiverse. So that part of it does track, right? So this Doctor Strange in the multiverse, but the part where she was tracking them in the end of WandaVision and hears children's voices is a little bit doesn't track with the teenage version that we're getting now.
Yeah, this happens exactly at the time that the hex comes down.
Yeah.
And then you want to believe that both souls are somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. The other kid, Tommy's got his soul somewhere.
And then we find
he's Speed.
Speed, yes. Tommy is Speed. So we find out that's why. I mean, the whole story of him getting to Agatha, Ralph Boner coming back, fantastic.
Ralph Boner
leaves him to Agatha, and she finally gets the real reason he's on the witch's road is not to resurrect his mother, but to find his brother. Now, the sigil, he broke it. I think the sigil is broken, and she's like, every witch with a beating heart can hear you now. Shouldn't that mean that Wanda, if she's alive, should show right the fuck up?
If she's alive.
If she's alive.
But she's dead.
Is she?
Or maybe she's not.
I've been reading a lot of rumors on some of these sites. They are working on a Scarlet Witch movie, which all of this, if it's handled well, there's only 3 episodes left. If the end is handled well, you could have a Scarlet Witch movie. Agatha may be involved in this movie. The teen could even be in the movie. It could be her reuniting with her sons. I don't know. They're building the Young Avengers. I like that. You know, if Tommy and Wiccan and Speed actually get together, which they might, I think that might be where this ends and not necessarily Wanda showing up, but Tommy and Billy being together. So there's a lot of potential here. And I was just like, holy shit, they explained shit and it made sense. I missed that. I forgot how.
Kind of.
For the most part, I bought it. So I don't even worry about the comic book version. Like what they showed us here, how they showed us Billy kind of felt his soul, saw this soul leaving and inhabited it, I thought was great. And then, you know, when he first gets into the body and he's walking around, great moments where the guy's really confused. He could hear his parents' thoughts. He's trying to figure out what the fuck happened. And I was like, if I was him, would I just tell my parents right there? Would I be like, hey guys, I'm not your William. I am a William. Here's what happened.
They would have put him in a mental institution.
But this is the MCU. They've seen crazy shit happen. They see the whole world got wiped out for 5 years. Wouldn't you think this would have been plausible?
That's true. They don't really use that kind of logic.
No, they don't. They should. Because I was like, man, if I was him, I would just tell the parents, like, look. So all that.
I thought that was interesting, though, with him in Billy Kaplan's body, or William Kaplan's body, and the whole internal struggle he has where he knows he's not the person that everyone thinks he is, but he has to fake it. I thought that was really interesting. I could have actually explored that even more.
Yeah, a little bit. Because I was like trying to put myself in his place, and I'd be like, holy fuck, what would I do? How does this feel? You don't know. You have to try to act like someone you're not.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I don't know who Billy Kaplan is and what his whole persona is, and I don't know if Maximoff being in his body is obviously he's a kind of different kind of dude. So it's just that's also kind of interesting as well.
It's a 10-year-old soul that went into a 13-year-old body, right? So mentally, maybe he's 3 years younger. But we've been seeing Billy Maximoff this whole time, who is, a friendly, polite, and doesn't want to use magic to hurt people. Like he's a lot like his mother. And so I thought all that behavior was consistent. But now he's kind of turning dark, which is kind of interesting. That meeting with Ralph Boner was fantastic. There was a couple of Easter eggs in there. Like he was dressed up as the killer from I Know What You Did Last Summer in the same like raincoat and hat. And I love seeing Evan Peters and learning how messed up he is now. How they fucked with his whole life, hijacked his whole life.
I thought that was fun.
Yeah,
I liked the when he confronts Agatha. And she's still playing it like she's a detective.
Oh, yes.
Doesn't realize where she's at and what's going on. I thought that was also interesting, too.
Yeah, they were just in her house the whole time. And he's saying different things than what she heard him say when we saw it happen the first time. Also, I think that car crash is the crash that was from the first episode, maybe? Because she mentions the Billy's car crash. No, that happened recently. That was 3 years ago. Never mind. But I thought there was some kind of connection with that car crash and the opening car crash that she thought she was at or whatever. But no, those are different. She does mention there was another car crash before. But yeah, we see him say that he's William Kaplan and then he says he's Billy Maximoff. Agatha somehow, I guess unkillable, she's able to pull herself out of the mud. She can't die. I think
the other two ladies, though, are dead.
So here's what I think is going to happen. I think somehow, by the end of this whole thing, everybody is going to be back alive. Mrs. Hart, all the witches who died, Alice, they can figure out some way, and they're all
probably
just going to be okay.
I didn't like how everybody's kind of involved in Kaplan's life, like that he saw all these people before.
So, well, it shows he does have some kind of connection to these witches leading up to this. Yeah, so he saw Lilia. Alice Wu was at the car crash. I think
that was a bridge too far.
He watches Jen's videos.
Because none of them know that it's him. I guess the sigil makes him not know.
The sigil would have made him not know until now because it's broken. And his powers have faded currently, just like Agatha's. And he still needs to be with Agatha to continue on the road. And why he broke into her house, like I was like, oh, and they even I remember seeing the first episode where he's in the closet tied up. I was like, how do you get in the closet? They even show you how you get in the fucking closet. So I was like, all right, they are explaining things. Well done.
I'm with you. I liked it.
Whether Wanda will show up, I don't know. I think it's more likely Wiccan and Speed will show up. And then I also want to know where Rio is, what her role is. And now, who is the lead of this show? We thought it was Agatha, but Billy seems to be taking over a little bit.
No, it's still Agatha, but she's driving everything. But now there's a second lead, basically.
Yeah, the co-lead. So, yeah, I thought that was very good. I was like, oh shit, they're starting to cook here. All right, we have one more single episode next week, and the following week will be the 2-episode finale, 8 and 9. On October 30th. So, very close to finding out what the fuck's going on. And the show's, it's hitting a stride or something. Listener, let us know what you think. You can join this conversation. Join our Facebook group. It's called Jock and Nerd Nation. Jock and Nerd. Jock and Nerd. It is a closed, exclusive group. You just got to check one box, answer one question. We'll let you right in. And you'll get to geek it up with everybody. It's lots of fun in there. Check it out. Okay, let us move on to the DC TV side of things. The Penguin, episode 5. This one titled Homecoming. Here's your spoilers for that.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
I was looking forward to this after the fucking incredible episode 4, Chenton, the Sophia Falcone origin within an origin. Holy shit, that was great. Anthony,
yes.
What happens in this one?
Well, this one, Oz is kind of reeling, right? The Maronis know that they've been getting screwed. Sophia knows that she's been getting screwed, and Oz's only hope is to get that product back, them shrooms.
Gotta get that bliss.
But the Maronis have it. So Oz comes up with a scheme to get the shrooms and retake the power. But that scheme doesn't work out the way it's intended and has only pissed off the Maronis even more. And while that's happening, Sophia is making her play to erase the Falcones from history, which she's almost done in the last episode, and create a new legacy to take down Oz.
Fuck, man, we get some incredible, shocking deaths. We have the formation of a new crime family. Ruggs, let's start with you this time. What'd you think of this episode?
I thought it was good. I liked it.
Great.
Let's move on. No,
that's it. Anthony?
It's good. They spent a lot of time with the mom, and I don't like the fact that the kid takes the mom to the fucking the like where it was all wiped out. Like
where it all
you leave Gotham, you don't go in Gotham more.
I mean, it's kind of a smart move.
No, it's not. It's the most stupid move I've ever seen. If I was the Penguin, I would beat the shit out of it.
Well, also, but he mentions that Falcones, Maronis have no power. That's not their turf.
They don't care about.
They don't care about that, and he just deduced it's the quickest place to get to. Nobody's gonna come down here. Squid is there. That might be a problem. But I love the mom. She's fucking fantastic with her bouts of dementia and clarity, and her relationship with Oz is great. And poor Oz just kind of gets rejected by all the women in his life this episode.
Oh, you watched the thing at the end, didn't you, son of a bitch?
I finally did.
You're quoting it.
Anything.
It's good. Those are really good.
I like that he has like the whole like the Ninja Turtles lair at the end.
Oh yeah, the trolley thing was very cool.
He found his own Batcave.
He did. He really has his own penguin lair, almost like Dane DeVito's lair. Not as extravagant or over the top. I was sad that he had to burn his sweet plum Maserati, but that's all right. It's interesting how, the mom is Farsi, the Maroni mom, and some of the kids have Farsi names like Taj Maroni. I was like, this is fascinating. This combination of Italian and Persian family here. And they're mixing up the names, and he speaks Farsi. But yes, that whole sequence, trading the son for the shrooms, was fucking amazing.
Yeah, that was white knuckle.
He brings out the kid, and he's soaking wet, and it didn't even occur to me that it could be gasoline.
Oh, I knew right off the bat.
You did? Okay.
Right when he was all wet, I was like, he's doused him in gasoline.
Fucking hell. And then it's a setup. There's a shootout, and Oz just fucking burns Nadia and Taj alive and stands there and watches with almost a kind of pleasure. I was like, holy shit. That was one oh shit moment. And the second one comes through the whole Johnny Vitti thing. She doesn't kill him last episode. She's got him tied up in the crypt. She's throwing cold water on him. She needs to know where the cash is. And then I thought his plan was working initially when he talks about her mom and how he tried to help her. And he's like, let me get respect for you. I could be an ally, but you can't fucking trust Johnny Vitti. Clearly. So she has him at the meeting and then just fucking shoots him in the head. So she knew this whole time, I'm keeping him alive to find the cash. I'm going to use him as an example.
Does she get the cash?
She had a bag of cash. She found the cash. And that's at the end. And I love that speech. Oh my God. That whole thing at the end when she's picking out her outfit. It's her mom's fur coat. She walks in like a gangster, bro. Tracking shot behind her like a fucking gangster. And she's like, I am a gigante. Now on we will be gigante. She's like, you guys are no longer cannon fodder. I got to pay you what you're worth. Take your money. A lot of the money has Johnny Vitti's blood on it. Didn't matter. People just fucking grab it.
Hey, just throw it in the wash machine.
Yeah, I was like, you can just wash that. It's fine. It's a little bloody. She shoots him in the head, and I was like, fuck. And then, so smart. We got to mention all of Oz's plans go bad.
Right.
The exchange goes bad. He pays a guard to stab Sal. The guard cannot get the job done. So he does take out the wife and the kid. Sal escapes. And now he's coming after him. And I love what he calls him. He's like, come after you, fuck. And Oz is like, oh, yeah, why don't you call your wife, see how she's doing? I was like, holy shit, Oz. Fucking brutal. So she finds him. He's hiding, not in a not very hidden place, apparently. And she's like, I want to end this. Falcone family is done. The legacy is died with my dad and everybody else. You and me, let's join up and take Oz down. I was like, that's fucking smart. That's smart. Oz is fucked.
Yeah, well, the thing is, though, is it ends. So, I mean, this whole episode is about Oz's all his plans going down to shit, and he's in a tough spot, whatever. But he does have that hope at the end where he can operate under the ground without anyone knowing where he is and what's happening.
Yeah,
so there is that hope at the end.
There's
for
hope, and like that thing, the post thing said a lot of themes of family, and it's very interesting. Sophia talking about how the Falcone family treats themselves and how the Maronis are more of a family unit. Falcones don't give a shit. So, fuck, dude. This is, I mean, that's major. She has taken out the Falcone family, and now she's stepping in. I hope that in the Batman 2, I read another rumor that possibly she should be in the movie, and it's got to deal with the fallout, because I don't even know if the Maronis make it out of this as a family.
Well, they're not going to kill off the Penguin. He's not dying.
I think we're pretty safe in assuming he will survive.
I don't know if Colin Farrell wants to keep doing this because he's been doing it a while.
Yeah.
But he's getting a lot of like good acclaim from it. So I don't know if he's down to do it in another movie. I don't know if he already signed a deal for another movie. I have no idea if he's still got anything left in the tank to do it again.
He needs to be in that second movie, similar to the role he played in the first movie. He was kind of in between, not a big time, but like I feel like you got to pick up on this thread, depending on how this ends. And is Kristen Milioti on the low down stealing the fucking show from him? At times, I feel like she is. I was very impressed with Colin Farrell, but fuck, she's blown me away.
Well, when they did that episode of her on Arkham.
Yeah,
they really beefed her character up a lot.
And then in this one, too, she's a gangster.
I wouldn't say she's stealing it. I think she's doing a good job being almost a 1A to him, which is a huge task, given that it's Colin Farrell looking like a fat Italian guy with a wobble.
Yeah.
So I think she's just doing a good job of like holding up her end of the bargain. I even enjoy, I don't think he's definitely not as strong as the other two, but the kid,
Vic is great. Vic is great.
I like Vic's like evolution in this movie, in this story, and what's happening with him too.
The relationship.
I enjoy the mom.
Yeah, the mom is great. The performance is great. Vic was in that Marvel Runaways show. I realized.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it was a pretty good show. Sorry, but yeah, he was one of the lead guys in that. No, his the little moments where before Oz was defending his kind of stuttering to the waiter. And now on the phone, he doesn't have time for that. He's like, just fucking tell me, is she okay? Well, he's like, he doesn't have the patience for the start. But Vic is like, bro, I got you. I will take care of this. And then we learn he had two brothers. Kind of curious what happened to them. He's like, the city took them. City takes everybody, as the mom says.
It's a good show. I mean, I wouldn't say this is my favorite episode of what I've seen, but I still really enjoy it. And it's just nice to see HBO doing DC prestige, doing DC, but doing it the HBO way with prestige type.
You mean
TV.
Not Tiddins?
Yeah, that whole Tiddins swamp thing. Those, I mean, that was a level below. Doom Patrol was quirky and weird. Tiddins was really bad.
The last show that reminds me of this that was a comic book was on HBO too. It was the Watchmen show.
Oh, yeah. It's at that
this
level.
Is the strongest in-universe, in-movie universe show that's ever been made, I think. Yeah. I think Marvel has been trying to do this, and I think that Penguin did it the best.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we're going to do something that's a companion to the movies that works in the continuity of the movies, the extension of the movie.
Right.
No one's done it as good, as high quality as the movie as this show has done it. Now, I still have issues that Batman's not mentioned at all.
Yeah.
I still think that that's the one Achilles heel in really tying the universes together. But other than that, it's pretty flawless.
Yeah, like, because how much time has gone by? What is the Bats doing? It could be a couple weeks, maybe a month.
I just want to see him mentioned on a news report or
even in the background,
talking about him in passing or something.
Yeah, maybe you just hear people in the background mention they saw him.
Or like if they're talking about, hey, look, we're going to pick up this thing. No, we can't. The Bat fucked it up. We have to go do something else.
Maybe the Bat goes away. Maybe he decides to take a break after that traumatic. It's only been, it started a week after all that shit. But he did just come out into the light at the end of that movie. So
yeah, I do think they could mention him. I don't think he needs to be in the story, but maybe a mention here or there in the background.
I would really I think I agree with you, Rox. It would really just connect it even further, right? It would really lock it all in together.
Yeah, because you had the guy with the weird voice last episode.
Chief Police Bachler. He's like,
he's got a really high voice like this.
He's got the guy sounds like he has laryngitis. Chief Bach.
I liked seeing him in this episode. I was like, oh, he was in. When I heard his voice, I went, oh, he was in the Batman. I remember that fucking guy. That fucking guy.
And now so what are we getting? Oz is building a lab. He's going to try to grow more shrooms. He's got a crew.
He needs to cook with Jesse.
He needs Jesse White and Mr. Heisenberg.
Remember, he's got the lab. He's got the secret lab now, just like Walter White now.
The Gigantes and Maronis have an alliance, and then the wild card in this is his mom hanging out in Crown Point, and that gangster seeing her.
So I'm wondering if Penguin gets Squid on his side, or he has to kill him because they're fucking with him. But he could use some more people. And what people do? Oh no, Sophia. Okay, so Sophia has her crew.
Yep.
The Maronis have their crew. They're going to join up. Yeah, Oz is fucked. He cannot poke his head out. He cannot let them find out where the fuck he is. Squid may fuck that up. But
I feel like that the boy's got to do it. Vic.
Yeah.
He's got to do it.
Okay, so Vic may have to take out Squid as part of his journey and maybe even initiation. Maybe that's his first kill. I can't see Vic killing anybody, though. He just still seems like a really nice boy that just wants to help.
But maybe he gets him killed.
He did hit that guy with the car where he was shooting. That guy's definitely dead. Or maybe he gets him killed. Yeah. But I love that he's like, I want this. He wants to try. He's in. Yes.
He's in.
He's in. It's very good. It's very good. And I think every episode builds amazingly on the last one. So it's the momentum is going, the pacing is good, and you're like, all right, shit. So yeah, we still got 6, 7, 8, 3 more episodes to go with the Penguin. I wish it would never end, but it will. Just like this first half of the show, we're done here. We're gonna take a quick break.
Nice.
Play some promos and come back, talk about Freddy Krueger right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I'm Imran.
And I'm Sophia.
I'm the brother.
And I'm the sister. And we are watching a show about cousins.
We're your hosts for Dance of Joy, a Perfect Strangers rewatch podcast.
We grew up watching the 80s hit sitcom, and now we'd like you to join us every week as we rediscover our love for our favorite TV cousins, Balky and Larry.
You can find our show at danceofjoypod.com and on all major podcast platforms. Now we are so happy, Sophia. We do the Dance of Joy.
Imran, this is a podcast. They can't see us.
Oh, po.
Hey there, everyone. Brian here, host of TV Trivia Pod. It's a trivia-style podcast focusing on TV and movies. Listen in for questions like, what's the name of Michael Scott's screenplay? What do you say to view the Marauders map? And what's everyone eating in the post-credit scene of Avengers? Play along to TV Trivia Pod anywhere you get podcasts. And stay tuned for more trivia.
Jock and Nerd.
Listener, if you enjoy this show, it is a great time to join our Patreon fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon.
Jock and Nerd.
And you can give back on a monthly or annual basis. We appreciate everybody's continued support. When you do support us, you get stuff like access to an exclusive podcast feed where the shows come out early. There is tons of bonus content, instant reactions, bonus audio. This week, 3 new movie reviews.
Oh, shit.
From Rug Boy and myself. We posted up a couple of things. talk about that later. You can also hang out in our monthly Discord hangout. We just had one last week. Ruggs, Wes Craven was there from Australia.
Oh, I missed it.
And it was great checking in with Wes. And whenever he's on, I'm just fascinated with what life is like in Australia.
I got a million questions.
I know, and that's what we end up talking about. Anthony, wasn't it nice to see Wes?
It was. It was nice to see young Wesley out from down under.
He was looking good.
Isn't it great how people that listen to us become celebrities to us?
Absolutely. We're like, holy shit. I was like, Wes Craven from Australia. It was the middle of the day, the next day for him. He was supposed to be at work. I think he was on the clock. He's like, I got to get back to work. But man, that man has seen some and done some shit. Fascinating stories about giant spiders the size of your hand that are harmless, apparently. They're just huge. And other things about life in Australia. So you never know what's going to happen. You got to come, sign up, join up, hang out. Fun stuff in our Patreon, jockandnerd.com/Patreon.
It's $3. What can you get for $3?
Minimum. $3 a month and you ain't going to feel it. All right. Let's get to... It's 12 quarters. No. Let's get to this week's movie review. We're sticking with our scary movie theme for October. This week, we are taking a look at Wes Craven's 1984 slasher classic, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Here's your spoilers.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Prepare to be spoiled!
This movie released November of 1984. Big year for movies. It's a good year for film. The Nightmare franchise consists of 9 movies, a TV series, some novels, there's some comic books. I had a comic book way back in the day, and some other things. On the Rotten Tomatoes, currently, Nightmare is sitting at 93% tomato meter out of 60 reviews, 84% audience score. Roger Ebert did not review this one for some reason. He loved Halloween, gave it 4 stars. He didn't review Nightmare. All right.
Yeah, fuck that movie.
Yeah, he's like, fuck that show.
Fuck that show.
This movie was made for $1.8 million and brings home $57 million. So, yes, very, very profitable. Apparently, it made its budget back in 3 days when the movie came out and is the third most profitable of the Holy Trinity of horror classics, coming in close behind Halloween and the Friday the 13th. The other big thing it did is this is produced and distributed and made by New Line Cinema. We know now, but back then they were just a distributor. They started dabbling and making movies, and they were about to go bankrupt. And this movie literally saves the business. New Line Cinema for many years was called the house that Freddy built. That's how people referred to that studio because he saved them. He saved them. Written and directed by Wes Craven and produced by Robert Shea. This one stars Heather Langenkamp as the final girl, Nancy Thompson. Robert Englund, of course, as the titular Freddy. Oh, he's not titular. He's not in the name. Fred Krueger. Introducing Johnny Depp. Just like we had Jamie Lee Curtis debut, we have a Johnny Depp debut. And then you got Ronnie Blakely as Nancy's mom, Marge. John Saxon as her father, Lieutenant Thompson. Her friends played by Amanda Weiss as Tina Gray. Sue Garcia as Rod Lane. Charles Fleischer, who's the voice of Roger Rabbit. Roger Rabbit's in this movie. He's one of the doctors. And some other people. I don't know. You don't have to know who they are. They're people from the 80s. Anthony.
Yeah, it's me.
What happens in this R-rated 1 hour, 31 minute movie, Nightmare on Elm Street?
Well, this is another horror movie that we are reviewing, and this is about a bunch of teenagers living on Elm Street that are having real fucked up dreams about this guy wearing a fedora and a red and green striped sweatshirt that is haunting them in their dreams. But these dreams are actually real. These kids are dying, and we got to figure out who the fuck is killing them. What's this guy's origin, and how do we stop a guy where you can't go to sleep?
You can't. That's really scary and difficult. All right. Who wants to start? Do you want to take over again like last week, or should we kind of do the same format? What is your relationship?
Yeah, we should probably do the relationship.
All right.
Well, was it consensual? Was it what kind of relationship did you have with him? Was it,
did you have? What?
yeah, was it platonic? Like what kind of things did you have with Freddy? Freddy Krueger. I mean, this is pretty similar. My relationship with Freddy, or just in general, was pretty real similar to Michael Myers and Jason in that I've always admired these characters from afar, and always thought of them as horror icons. The Freddy movies, I actually I never really sat down and watched any of them other than Freddy vs. Jason in their entirety.
Okay.
So while I've always been aware of the movies and seen bits and pieces of different ones, I've never actually sat down and watched them. As a kid, I would say I found Freddy to be pretty disturbing at times, but also somewhat like intriguing, like one of those where I'd kind of want to see him, but then I didn't. But yeah, I mean, when I watched Freddy versus Jason a couple years back, I thought his character was pretty funny. Yeah, I've never actually sat down, even though I've always known about these movies and known about their place in horror, and these movies have a strong following. I've never actually sat down and watched any of them in their entirety. Maybe I think the only one again is Freddy versus Jason. I think I saw New Nightmare, like most of that one in its entirety.
So watching this one was it like watching it the first time for you?
Basically, I mean, I know about a lot of the kill scenes. I was all very aware of, but I've never actually sat down and watched everything. So this was my first time.
All right. Ruggs, where are you at with the Freddy?
I saw a little bit of this one, not the whole movie, but just a few bits of it when I was a kid. And then I saw a little bit of Dream Warriors as a kid. And I made up my mind. I don't like Freddy.
Really?
I like the concept. And I like the idea of Freddy and the mystique of the story. But I just didn't like Freddy, the character. I didn't like the way he was portrayed. I didn't like the quality of the movies either. I felt that the movies were dumb. There were some scary, like prosthetic stuff, and they did do like a lot of practical effects. And that was cool. And I thought that was because I used to read Fangoria.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like a big Fangoria, but every once in a while I'd buy it for various things, and there'd be a lot of Freddy stuff in there. So I could see all the artistry that went behind it. But I was never a fan of Robert Englund, and this would make people crazy, right? But
really,
I never thought that he was that compelling. I think that maybe in some of the later movies they finally got his character down. Yeah. But I really, even in this movie, like there's parts of the movie where I'm like, what's going on? He's just like popping out, like he pops out like it's very silly.
Sometimes, yes, when he pops out behind the tree, and it's like
it's like what is he, Bugs Bunny?
Bush,
like what's he doing?
He's just in the bushes behind her.
Like he's a demon. He should be demonic. Like the idea is great. Like the boiler room, and he's a child killer, and he haunts people in their dreams because the parents killed him. What a great setup! Yeah. It's a great setup, and he's a demon, and he kills you in your sleep. You die in real life, and the injuries that you get in the dream world, you get in the real world. So people don't know what the fuck's going on. The opening of the movie where the girl's getting dragged across the ceiling and she's bleeding. Yeah. That's great. But like, then like, that's because you don't see Freddy.
Yeah.
When you see Freddy, it's like, he's kind of laughable.
It is a little silly.
It is a little,
when he tackles her and they're like rolling around on the ground.
or when like he's on fire and it's clearly a stuntman who's got like lots of padding on. I'm like, it looks like it's a short guy too. It's like, doesn't even match. I don't know. I just feel like that the Freddy character doesn't really hold up to me as maybe in other movies they get it down better. Yeah. I know that he kind of gets. This
is one of the better ones actually, for what it's worth.
But
really? I heard
3 is really good. Dreamweaver.
Yeah,
I heard that the 4th one who is directed by Rennie Harlan, and that's the most expensive one that they did up to that point.
I mean, he doesn't really get quippy with the one-liners in this movie. I feel like they just kind of grew that in the subsequent movies. You see a little bit of it. But for me, I think it's the age I was exposed to these things because, like I said, I wasn't a big horror guy. I was aware of the big 3, But for some reason, for me, Freddy always stuck out. It was a little bit different. It was almost playful. It was the design, the glove with the knives, and his face. I think I mentioned it last week. Like I think I was like 12 or 13. I got a little obsessed with Freddy for a little bit. I bought comic books. I was like drawing him. I just thought he was the coolest thing. But I think it's that age that this just stuck out to me more.
Like I think that in Freddy versus Jason, where they kind of had the amalgam of Freddy of all the Freddys in the past, and they kind of tried to perfect it. I feel like he was the most, I guess, effective, but like he's also a joke in that movie too, in a lot of ways, because it's a campy movie.
I mean, it's a campy premise. The whole thing is campy, right? This first movie is a little campy.
A little bit. Right? I'd say this first movie, I mean, there is somewhat of a camp factor because it's the 80s.
Right.
And the way he's acting.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, this movie, if you watch the other ones, he gets pretty... I haven't watched all of them like in their entirety, but I do know that he gets really, really quippy and less serious than even in this one and a lot of the other ones. So I think you're actually getting...
the best Freddy.
Yeah, either the best or the way he was originally supposed to be.
Or the most toned down version. Does Wes Craven direct more than one of these? I think he directs The New Nightmare, right?
Just New Nightmare.
Yeah.
Wes Craven, though, is a horror legend in a lot of people's minds. Prior to doing the Freddy movies, he did Last House on the Left, The Hills Have Eyes, Stranger in Our House, Deadly Blessing, Swamp Thing, and then he does Nightmare on Elm Street. So prior to doing the Nightmare on Elm Street, he was known for like these like 70s kind of exploitation films.
Yeah.
Last House on the Left and Hills Have Eyes are pretty disturbing movies. But then he does Nightmare on Elm Street, which kind of shows that he has a little bit more to him than just like shock value, rape, and violence. And then later on, he does the Scream movies, Vampire in Brooklyn.
Brings it back.
He's done a lot of the movies that horror fans consider classics.
He did write the third one. I kept getting. He didn't direct it, but he wrote Dream Warriors. So maybe that's why I think a lot of people think it's more in line with the original.
Should we get into? Well, Ruggs already kind of gave his initial thoughts. Should we jump into that?
Yeah, what I thought was interesting after watching Halloween last week is how many things were similar, and then the things Wes Craven does to make Freddy stand out and make it a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So we could talk about the similar themes again: horror in the suburbs, fear of a nice quiet neighborhood, sexually active teens dying.
Were they having sex? Oh, they had sex in the first scene in the movie.
Yeah,
Tina and
but it wasn't a recurring thing. It was only a one.
Tina and
I wrote down Johnny Depp's character can hear it, and he just goes, "Morality sucks."
I thought that was hilarious. He's got to lie there and listen to them bang while he can't do anything. You have a parent that's a cop, similar in Halloween.
Oh yeah.
You have Nancy in English class, very similar to Lori in her English class. You have phone calls, across the street phone calls. And then the one girl survives that didn't have sex.
Final girl, yeah.
Now, what do you think makes it different? Do you have anything else that's similar that I missed?
Well, before going into the differences, I wanted to just give quick initial thoughts, and then we can analyze the movie a bit more. Actually, Imran, so what are your initial thoughts before we do that?
Oh, of the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of the debate we heard a couple weeks ago.
I think the Democrats are in a position to it's kind of a fun movie, and it's kind of silly, and it's I was expecting more Freddy. He's only in 7 minutes of this movie.
7 minutes. Yeah.
Which is wild, that I was waiting for more one-liners, but the kills are iconic and memorable, and the concept is just terrifying. And you have the same thing where the parents don't believe what's happening, and it's up to the kids to stop it. But I thought it was still a lot of fun, and love seeing where he picks up on things that Carpenter laid down with Halloween. But then he's like, once we get into the backstory, there's a lot inspired from his life, so it makes sense. And then Freddy is still iconic. His design, has always been iconic to me, and the practical effects are great. The makeup's great. So I had fun.
Yeah. I lean way more towards Imran than I do in Ruggs on this. I'm not a horror, movie buff at all, but I also had a shit ton of fun watching this movie. I didn't find it to be as scary as Halloween.
Yes.
Because this is living in that supernatural realm, and for me, supernatural is less scary. That said, genius concept, right? Killer in your dreams. That's fucking genius. Like that, and the way it plays out with him in the dreams and not no one believing him, believing Heather Langenkamp's character, like all that stuff is great. I thought. Freddy is an iconic character. I do agree with Ruggs in that at times he is a little bit silly.
I mean, like the long arms, it was a little bit silly.
I kind of like that. The long arms
was crazy.
I will say, like the kills are fucking awesome.
Yeah,
the kills are great, and some of the dream stuff is really good. Like the boiler rooms, the fucking stairs where they start turning into mud, the fucking glove coming out of the bathtub.
Oh God.
Like, there's a lot of really iconic images. Yeah. I mean, the fucking scene where where Heather, what's Heather's name in this movie? Nancy falls asleep in class.
Yeah.
And then there's the visual where she looks out and sees fucking Tina in the body bag.
Yeah.
And then the body bag getting dragged.
Yes.
I was like, this is fucking, like this. If I was transported back to the 80s, I'd be like, this is fucking wild shit I'm watching right now. So, like, I think there's a lot of really cool visuals and just really cool concepts. And it is the 80s. There's some really bad acting in this. The mom is like, I don't know. She's like
terrible
the
acting.
Mom and Nancy, whenever they're together, it's just like, what?
I think everybody's bad. There's not one good actor in this movie.
No, there's not all any good acting. I was partway through the movie, I was like, the mom's really bad. And then they play it off like the mom is like,
she's a drunk,
self-medicated.
Yeah. So
I'm like, are they doing that? But I was just like, no, she's actually just bad. Anyways, the only thing I don't particularly care for other than the acting and some of the silliness is I think the ending kind of is, I don't really like the ending. I think we'll talk about that later.
It is controversial.
Or we can talk about it now, but I didn't find the ending to make any sense whatsoever. Like, it's left to be ambiguous, similar to Halloween, but I don't think it does a great job of really tying the knot to make it feel like
meant to be ambiguous. Halloween, it's like, okay, he gets up and he's alive.
He's gone.
Yeah.
He's still alive.
And it's handled it makes you feel like unsettled at the end of the movie. Here it's like, it's so obvious, like he rips the mom through the door.
So, oh my
He's
God,
there.
I always remember the stupid dummy that goes through the window. That's burned in my head. I was like, that shit is
goes through the little window.
This shit is hilarious. Hilarious.
It just doesn't. Let's talk about that ending while we're on it. So it ends, but prior to that ending, she realizes the way to get rid of him is to stop fearing him.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So makes sense, right? Like the whole thing was he plays upon your fears. Yep. She gets him in the real world and she stops. Okay, cool. Then the ending plays out where she wakes up. It's really foggy and misty, so you can already tell it's like a dreamlike state.
Yeah.
Everyone's alive. She gets in the car. The car turns into a Freddy car and drives away. Yeah. And then the mom gets sucked up, and you're like, "Wait, it's very ambiguous and like, is this
dreaming?
Was this supposed to be a dream a whole time?
Right. When were they dreaming?
What will he? Yeah. What is happening here? And from what I read, there was a lot of different endings.
Yeah.
And I guess Wes Craven was pressured to make an ending that left it open for sequels.
Well, what I thought I read was originally his ending was that whole same thing, to imply that maybe Freddy is the car without the mom getting pulled through the window. He just wanted to end it with the kids driving off in this Freddy car. Mm-hmm. But that ending always confused me. Even as a guy, I was like, wait.
Who's dreaming?
Yes, I was like, wait a minute. So it's still a dream? Was this whole thing a dream? Was she ever awake? Whose dream is this? I love the detail that the roof of the convertible is the Freddy stripes, right? And it kind of just takes. So he wanted to be like Freddy was the car and
right,
took
of course.
But then Robert Shea, the producer, is like, we got to make it more obvious. We're going to film this stupid fucking thing where she gets pulled through the window. It was really it's a shocking ending when you first watch it because you're not expecting it. And you're like, oh, fuck, what the fuck? But then when you think about it, you're like, wait a fucking minute. What is happening?
It doesn't tie a nice. Ruggs summed it up great. Like it doesn't tie the unsettling bow that it wants to tie on the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, after what you can't watch these two back to back and not make the comparisons.
You're right.
So,
right. How would you end this? What's a better ending? Do it.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like any of the endings that they had were not good. I think that initially her saying, "Okay, I don't believe in him," and he'll go away, but does he die? Because other people might dream about him.
Oh, that's a good.
So I mean, that doesn't work.
That's a good.
But
point.
her bringing him out and then he's just a normal guy, and you could kill him. That's cool. But then they tried to do that, and then that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we gotta. They don't want him to finally die because that'll end the series.
Sure.
So they have to figure out a way to make it an ambiguous ending. So there's no good way to end it.
I mean, I'm good. I'm good with kind of an ambiguous ending. Would I've wanted a definitive ending? I don't know. There is no good way to end it. You're right. The whole world would have to stop believing in Freddy for him to actually.
Yeah, and he's going to be more powerful than ever since he started killing people, and people know that he's back.
They see him.
What I would have done, the way I would have done it, and this isn't by far perfect. This is just me thinking out loud as we talk about this. Is I would have ended it with her waking up. Her mom is dead. Her mom, by the way, her mom got like sucked into hell.
So yeah, that part doesn't make sense either. Was that real, or that's what happens in the dream?
Let's just leave it all as is. Let's say the mom gets sucked into hell.
Yeah.
It's just her and her dad.
Yeah.
She wakes up. She stops fearing him. I think the best way to end it, because the movie starts like this, is you have her go outside.
Yeah,
it's a new day. But then as she walks by, you just hear the kids jumping and playing hopscotch or jump rope, and you just hear them going, 1, 2, raise and just end it like that.
They're still singing the song. That's a nice ambiguous ending. That's another thing I really loved, was that there was a children's jump rope song in this lore. So you're like, this guy's been frightening generations of kids. They made him into a song.
It would be, maybe she hears the kids and then she runs over to them and she's like, stop saying his name. Yeah. You make him come back, and then they just end it like that.
I mean, I don't mind Anthony's thing. Like, she walks by them, they're singing the song, and she just gives a look, and then she just keeps walking.
Because the whole thing is based around his like memory. If you remember him, then he comes back.
Well, that was what's brilliant about Freddy versus Jason is that he tricks Jason into killing. He gets Jason to kill people, so people think he's doing it, and then he comes back into
that is genius.
Yeah, into being. So I don't look. There's a lot of good going on in this movie. It's bogged down by bad acting and kind of like a not kind of crystallized performance or a not crystallized realization of how to handle Freddy, really. Yeah. Because, like, they have him, like, they want you to like him because he's a character that you want to sell toys of and put him on a TV show and sell products. So you don't want him to be, but he's a child murderer. Like, I don't mean like, it's just weird. Like, if he was just a demon that haunted your dreams, but like, it's just a weird thing that never really made sense. But at the same time, he's kind of like Bugs Bunny. He kind of like is like, popping out of shadows and like, woo! And
this is God.
Yeah. I think that there is a way to kind of do that better. So I never liked the way that they did it, ever. And I feel like people love Freddy the way he is, and that's fine. It's just not my cup of tea. And on paper, there's a lot of good. There's the fact that he's this demon. He comes back in your dreams, and the boiler room, and this whole origin with the parents, and they kill him, and the people have to pay for their parents' sins of taking the law in their own hands. So there's a lot of good stuff here, and even like the fact that the convention of her being able to pull him out of the dream into the real world. If she could just not be scared and figure out how to trap him, she does like a Home Alone thing with a trap.
It's fantastic. Awesome. So that's the two things you mentioned. I think that Wes Craven added to make this stand out. Instead of the parents just not being around, they're actually the reason this is happening. They are harmful to the kids. The kids have to deal with the sins of the parents and they don't believe it, and they cause this to happen. And then how Nancy is this empowered final girl. I think she's actively going after him.
Yes,
she's
absolutely.
like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna sleep, I'm gonna get him. You wake me up, we're gonna fucking kill him. I was like, damn, Nancy.
She has a plan and a watch and everything.
She's setting up traps. I was like, she's got a timer. Fantastic.
She's good.
I wish she was a better actress, but the idea of it is great.
I also I do enjoy. I like the music. Similar to, I don't think it's as iconic as the Halloween music.
Yeah,
but I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think the music, like the vibes here, aren't as strong as Halloween. But I think there's a lot of like if you compare this to other 80s slasher movies, this is definitely a cut above a lot of the other ones that came out. Like you think the acting's bad in this, throw on some other ones, and you'll
getting her
fall
some
over.
help. I love that line that she delivers.
Which one?
We mean like Troll 2? Oh my god!
Oh, we have that. Hold on, I'm gonna play the whole thing. It's
Oh my god!
when the mom she goes, I'm taking her. I'm getting her some help, and they get in the car. And it's just the worst delivery.
Oh yeah, the whole. But I mean, I'm gonna praise the movie. I think all the stuff with the dreams and the way they're doing like him coming out of the fucking walls, like
pushing through.
I give the movie a shit ton of credit because those are all practical things they're doing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And when you compare those to other slasher movies, like the other slasher movies of the era were all about like these like zombie guys or just regular people killing people in very creative ways. But there wasn't this like surreal aspect to it.
Yes.
That I think they did a really good job of pulling off for the most part, other than Fat Freddy being on fire. I think they do a really good job of like, you can watch it now and be like, damn, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's fucking good.
Yeah.
It holds up. A lot of that stuff holds up.
Like the bathtub where she pulls him underwater.
Yeah.
He pulls her underwater. Like that looks good. The 2 times he comes out of the walls look good. The blood squirting out of the fucking bed upside down.
That's great.
Using a spinning room, as a
the fucking Tina getting dragged around.
Getting
like there's some good shit.
Fucking wild. It's fun, and poor Rod just has to stand there and watch it. So Rod has some great lines. I have to mention some of his lines in the beginning when they're walking. She's like, "Rod, what'd you dream about this morning?" He goes, "I had a hard on this morning. I'm thinking about you, Tina." And then he goes, "Up yours with a twirling lawnmower." I was like, "What? Do people say that? What kind of an insult is that?" And then I love when when he scares them and tackles Glenn, and then he's like, "What's going on here? An orgy?" And he's like, "It's your funeral." He pulls a knife out. Rod's fucking great, but has to die. The all of that shit is iconic. The blood, that was 500 gallons of blood in an upside down room. Fake blood. It wasn't even fake blood. It was just water dyed red because the fake blood it was too thick.
Well, there's a part where they go, what does I think it's either the coroner or the forensic scientist. Like, what does he got to say about this? And the guy's just like, I'm paraphrasing, but he says, "Oh, he's been in the bathroom throwing up since he got here."
Everybody's seen that room.
The guy goes, "You don't need a body bag, you need a mop." I was like, "Oh my god, Jesus Christ!" Just these horrific scenes, and he still doesn't fucking believe her.
I mean, it's if the world they're building is that this is the first time this is happening, then of course no one's going to believe it. So I think it's a very well thought out concept where the people that this is affecting, it really only can affect them, and there's almost no way out.
Yeah, it reminded me that you could buy that trucker speed at fucking gas stations. Keep yourself up, ephedra. She's popping stay awake pills. I was like, oh my god, you used to be able to buy that and just fucking get buzzing with some coffee dick. And what else? Yeah, Johnny Depp had some weird things where he's playing that tape with the background sounds while he's talking to his mother.
Everybody's got a TV on their lap.
Oh yeah, a giant tube black and white TV.
Like he's got it on the bed and she's got it on a chair, and Johnny Depp has to pick it up and move it at one point. And then when she's making coffee, she's got like 4 pots of coffee, and her mom takes one and she grabs another one from under the bed.
That's fantastic. Her mom takes a whole carafe and mugs and leaves, and she pulls out already a plugged-in coffee maker right from under her bed, puts it up.
That's kind of comedic.
It's drinking right away. That shit is funny.
See, all that shit you're pointing out makes me like really enjoy the movie because it's just so goofy at times.
It is pretty goofy.
That I'm like, I know this is supposed to scare me, and there are parts where I'm like, this is fucking creepy, but it's just so funny at times. I'm just like, this is a good time. This is a fun time.
He cuts his fingers off.
This isn't a type of movie where you you watch it and we'll get to those things, but where you watching, you're like, man, I was really disturbed by that. I don't ever want to watch. Like, I could throw this on again and be like,
it's
that's cool.
So that is the difference between Halloween and the Friday the 13th. Very grounded. He makes this supernatural, and that allows him to kind of just do whatever the fuck you want. Have fun with
cutting the fingers off where he cuts his body open and worms are coming out.
Come out. She pulls his face off. I also think it's hilarious that one scene where Freddy is chasing Nancy in his own nightmare. He's in charge of this, and he trips over a garbage can. This is your dream, motherfucker. Why are you tripping over shit? Like, you were in control. What are you doing?
Oh, I wrote this down too. It's actually very genius to have these things occur in the dream, because that writes themselves out of anything where you go, hey, that character acted stupid there.
Right.
Well, yeah, they acted stupid. They're in a dream. They can't really control everything. So it gets them out of that whole trope of, why did you do that? Why did you go in the house by yourself?
Yeah, why? Right. So, like, when Tina is following the noises and the voices saying, Tina, she's normally you'd be like, don't go there, but she's dreaming.
Right.
She doesn't
She's
know.
in a dream.
So that whole thing is it's brilliant. You can write off everything.
You can write off stupidity.
Yes.
Yeah, it desperately needs that.
Yeah. Oh, notice Nancy, while she's trying to stay awake, she's watching Evil Dead. Sam Raimi's Evil Dead.
I think Evil Dead 2, maybe.
I think it was Evil Dead 2. And this is I found this out. The reason Craven put that in the movie, because Sam Raimi put Hills Have Eyes in the Evil Dead. A poster for the Hills Have Eyes, he put in the Evil Dead. And then after Craven put in Evil Dead, Raimi featured a Freddy Krueger glove in a scene in Evil Dead 2 and later in Ash vs. Evil Dead 2. So these two were just buddies going back and forth, just putting little Easter eggs for each other's movies in exchange. So a couple of interesting things. Let's talk about the inspiration Wes Craven had. This is wild, and it's really interesting. He was inspired by a bunch of things. There was articles at the time of Vietnamese and Cambodian refugees who had escaped a war zone when they were little boys living in America who were dying in their sleep while having a nightmare. When he was a little boy, he saw this old man with a fedora shuffling around outside his window, and the old man decided to turn and look at him and scared the shit out of him. He never forgot that. He had a childhood bully whose name was Fred Krueger. And I was wondering if this Fred Krueger was alive when this movie came out, do you feel bad, bro? Or you're like, hey, I want some residuals. I inspired this shit. There was also a Gary Wright song from 1978, Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver. Kind of was inspired by that. He said every town has an Elm Street, which is why he said it there. And on top of that, the book depository where Oswald takes the shot at JFK is on Elm Street. And he was like, our country's innocence died on Elm Street.
I lived on Elm Street my junior year of college.
Oh, get out. Were you ever, you were like, oh, is anything going to happen? You nervous?
I don't think it ever crossed my mind until
at that point,
this point. Yeah,
there's a main street in every town. There's the Elm Street. And then as far as the red and green stripes on the sweater, Wes Craven read an article in Scientific American that said the human eye is rendered uncomfortable by specific shades of red and green butting up against each other. And it's true. If you do a certain shade of red and green and make bars, like, it'll vibrate to your eyes because they're just clashing colors. So all of that put together, he dreams up this movie. Johnny Depp gets this role. So first of all, Johnny Depp got this role because Wes Craven's daughter saw his photo and thought he was cute. Now, the other story, I don't know if this is confirmed. This is kind of interesting. Depp actually came in with his buddy to audition for Nightmare. Who was his buddy? It was Jackie Earle Haley, apparently, who goes on Rorschach, who goes on to play Freddy in the 2010 remake, which I thought that was kind of.
Did you watch that?
No, I have not seen that.
I did see that, but I don't remember it.
I've only seen one Freddy movie. I think I might watch 3. We already talked about he's only in the movie for 7 minutes, and originally Craven was going to make him a silent killer like your Mike Myers and Jason, but then decided not to, which is great.
From what I know, 3 and 4 are supposedly good. Number 2 is an inadvertently homoerotic movie.
Oh,
from what I've heard too.
I don't even know if it's inadvertent. It's pretty homoerotic.
Oh, it's not even inadvertent.
Yeah,
blatantly.
The director keeps saying he had no intention of doing anything like that, but that's it.
I mean, there's some
it's in the movie.
There's some shades of sexual stuff here, like when the hand comes out from between her legs. Alludes to that.
I feel like that he should have been. Well, I think he was originally a child molester.
Yes, they changed that. He was supposed to be a child molester, but there was a lot of child molester cases in coming out, and he wanted to. So they changed it to a child murderer, child killer.
I don't think that's any better, but
I don't think it makes a difference.
That's two very bad things.
Yes. They're like, molester, let's make him a murderer. Oh, yeah, that's good.
Well, he kills them.
Yes, he does kill them, and the parents make him. And then, of course, Rick and Morty have a parody of Krueger, Scary Terry, which we have an intro from Jess Harnell as Scary Terry. And the list,
I do love the whole concept of the mom just keeping the glove as a souvenir.
Why does she have the glove? And how did she get it?
Really
she
weird.
said they burned his ass up in the boiler room. How did you get this glove?
How did nobody know about this? Like, this must have not happened that long ago.
When did this happen? I don't know.
She has one kid.
Yeah.
The kid's a teenager.
Yeah.
This kid may have been like maybe 5 when Freddy was killing people.
So that's what she says. She says he was killing children and we had to put a stop to it. But like, how old were you? Were you guys? I thought they were kids.
Tina's 15 years old in this movie, and she's just getting fucking. You can just hear her getting railroaded by.
See, it's pretty graphic. It's not graphic. They got shit.
Yeah, there's some silly stuff. There's a ton of silly stuff. I chalk it up to, hey, it's the 80s. A lot of silly shit.
That's all you got to say.
It was the 80s. Now, back to the stunts. The Man on Fire stunts, these are long takes of this guy on fire.
Yeah, that's a long take.
I was like, that's impressive. That dude's on fire. It's all, and the practical effects are great. The stairs, when her feet sink in, pancake batter. That's what they use. Yeah, so you could have eaten that later. Just fried it up. But yeah, no, still a fun movie. I wish there was more like one-liners. I wish he was a little more punny.
No, they don't make him more.
No.
He's not funny until later.
Yeah, I guess they didn't quite get to that. He's just like, I'm your boyfriend now, Tina, and stuff like that. Which is good. I don't know.
I honestly had a lot of fun with it. I didn't so we didn't even give the origin of why we're doing this.
Yes.
Ron. Way to host this really well, huh?
They would have heard last week.
Real quick. We did the Halloween theme, but we were debating what to do this week. And when we did our Discord, which you guys should join, we had our members on the Discord vote on what they wanted us to do. And one of the things they wanted us to do was review these original movies from the horror genre from the big icons. So we picked Freddy because initially I think we were going to do Friday the 13th, but
yes,
people in the Discord were like, no, Freddy's way different. Do that one.
Yeah, because I wanted to go chronologically because Friday comes out, I think, before 1980 or so, but it's also very similar to Halloween. But so, yeah.
Also, Jason doesn't even show up in Friday.
That's what I'm learning, too, is that he's not actually until the second movie is the thing. But
he shows up at the end of the movie.
Okay. Wow.
Like a twist at the end.
Yeah, but thank you, Discord. Yes, that was fun. They got to vote, and I think this was the right choice. It made a lot of sense. How about the iconic screeching of the glove on the pipe? The glove is great, dude. That's kind of.
I like the glove.
Wes Craven said he was just afraid of like knives or thought that knives should be scarier or something. But you see him in the opening credits in a little window for some reason make this glove. I don't know why it's in that little window. But the glove is great. And it's like, what a great Halloween costume you could just make at home, which everybody did. But I wanted a glove replica for a long time also. It's like Wolverine. I love Wolverine's claws. I like
Edward Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands, Freddy Krueger's glove. It does all the same thing to me.
Yeah, now that I think about it, he doesn't have a ton of lines that I can quote.
No, he really doesn't.
In this movie.
He says this is.
And that's usually what everyone thinks of.
He does the tongue move, which is now is a thing for him.
Oh, the tongue. The tongue coming out of the phone was also.
Oh, yeah. That was wild prop set.
I didn't understand the logistics of that because I didn't think she was dreaming there. But
I'm not sure at times when they're dreaming in this movie. It's kind of muddy, but whatever. Oh, the phone off the hook ringing is pretty good, too. When she
licks him.
Oh, yeah. That's when that happens. Yeah. But just the fact that she yanks it out. And I was like, that phone's going to ring again, isn't it? And of course it does. There's also the thing about putting the phone off the hook. I think they did that in Halloween too, which for our young listeners, this is what you did if you didn't want to be bothered. You just took the phone off and just left it off and nobody could call you.
It's busy.
Of course, this
another stupid thing that doesn't make any sense but works for the movie is the mom gets the mom wants her to sleep, so she barricades the doors.
Oh my God, she locks her in and bars her in, and now Freddy's there and she can't get the fuck out because of stupid
That's
mom.
weird. And then the whole scene after that, when Heather Nancy brings Freddy back into the real world. First off, Nancy's just setting up all these booby traps. Yeah. The mom previously was seen like sleeping in the living room. So like, where the hell did she go?
Where did she go?
And then secondly, when she sets up all these traps, first off, she calls her dad and says, it's like 12 o'clock. She goes, half past the top of the hour, be over here. Yeah. So she sets up all those traps in like 5 minutes. Goes to bed for 20 minutes, maybe. Like,
yeah,
because she's with him for 10.
Yeah.
And then when she brings Freddy back into the real world, the mom just doesn't hear them chasing each other and going all around the house.
She was in the bed.
Mom's just dead asleep and then gets sent to hell.
So, no, she got upstairs to her bed because Freddy jumps her and kills her.
Right.
Also, I know where she hides her booze. It's in the linen closet.
That booze bottle looks like a giant bottle of like vinegar.
I know. It's frosted white bottle. Like, what are you fucking drinking? What are you drinking? We get it. She's a drunk and the dad's not around or something.
It's some kind of schnapps. I don't know.
That whole the whole acting, I was like, is she doing this on purpose because she's medicated? And then I don't think she is. I think that's just how bad she is.
It's like she doesn't resemble her kid at all, and neither does the dad.
No, they don't. No. Yeah, she's done a lot of TV movies. The mom.
She looks like she's been sitting in a tanning bed turning orange for all her life.
Yeah.
And then Heather Langenkamp's character looks like the most preppy white girl you'll ever see in your life.
She's a little pale. Even the other guy's got like olive skin too. The dad, right? He's got a little bit, and she's just pale.
That's a famous actor, right?
Yeah, he's been in a lot of shit.
He's been
John Saxon.
John Saxon, I believe, is. I've seen him in a lot in the 80s.
Yeah, he's in a lot of
TV.
Stuff. A lot of these guys did a lot of TV movies and TV shows. Like the mom did a lot of TV shows, like Love Boat, all the 80s fucking TV shows. Well, he was in Enter the Dragon. John Saxon also in New Nightmare.
Oh yes, that's where I remember John Saxon from. He's Bruce Lee's buddy in that.
Yeah, he looks so 70s too. He's just got that 70s look about him. Oh, what do we think about Johnny Depp's fashion there? The little belly shirt. He's rocking the belly. I was like, why are you wearing that? Is that what people wore?
Is he watching Miss America or something?
He tells his mom, I'm waiting for Miss Nude America. What? Okay.
And you can just watch that on TV on your lap.
They just have Miss Nude America. They also,
that's something as a teenager you would share with your mom.
Yes, none of that made sense.
Was that what you guys were doing in the 80s?
You're like,
sharing
lewd stuff.
Said, where can I watch Miss Nude
Mom,
America?
Make me a sandwich. Miss Nude America is on. Are we gonna watch? Come on.
We can sit there and rate Bush. You're nude.
Also, Glenn, you had one job was to stay awake. You dumb fuck. It's great when he does it.
When he falls asleep,
and like
he doesn't take her seriously.
Yeah, he's in her dream, like following her. It's like, Glenn. That part's not bad too. When she gets to the prison and she sees Rod and she sees Freddy walk through the bars.
Oh, that's great. When they like are going, get us in. We know, we want to see him, and you see the fucking towel or the sheet going across his neck.
It's almost like you said, Ruggs. It's almost scarier when you don't see Freddy and the stuff just happens, and you're like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Right.
And then Freddy pops out.
Yeah, there's when he's kind of coming through the walls and like it's just like the outline of his face, and he's like, and it like turns into like almost like a rubber.
Yeah.
Like that's cool because it's the distortion of reality, and you could just imagine that happening, and that's like a pretty terrifying and iconic image
and then
too.
The cross falling off the wall is very kind of symbolic. Light religious themes. Him coming out of the bed sheet's also great, and then he just rips it open. There's some iconic shit in there, man.
He is a demon. We know that. And for some reason in the fourth one, a dog pisses fire and wakes him up out of his grave.
The dog?
So they're able to kill him.
This is fire. Oh.
Yeah, they do kill him and bury him. And then a dog pisses fire and wakes him up for some reason.
Yeah, but he's already dead and buried, Fred. Oh, I mean, he's burnt. What? Okay.
They got to put his bones in a special place with like holy water and shit.
Well, look, as we wrap this up, here's the big question, fellas. Does it still hold up? Does it stand the test of time to you?
Mostly, yeah. I think so.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think I think it's an entertaining movie. You have to have obviously a little bit of a stomach for horror. You know, if you're squeamish about looking at shit, you're probably not going to enjoy some of this. This is way more graphic than Halloween, but not as graphic as, you know, a torture porn Saw type movie. This is more leans more supernatural, so you know you have to enjoy that. But I think overall, yeah, I think it's a fun time.
Yeah,
if you're into horror and you get to see the origin of horror icon. I had a lot of fun with it, and I think I do think it holds up.
I think it holds up too. I love just the 80s vibe of it. Like, it has different vibes. It's not vibing like Halloween, but it's got this 80s vibe that just takes you back to the 80s.
Halloween has like a sense of dread, whereas this movie also has that dread, but I just feel like it's a lot more light, even though it's, it's a child killer and boiler room and the dreams. I was just having way more fun with this.
It is a little more lighthearted in a weird way. You're absolutely right. I love the white streak in her hair too. It's after she wakes up. Oh, how about
I love the rogue popping out in this movie.
They turned her
She's
into
great.
Rogue. How about she has one whole dream we don't even get to see? And I was like, would it have been nice? You could have the one where she's in the sleep clinic and she wakes up and she's cut and she has Freddy's hat.
Right.
You don't get to see that one. Freddy's in this for 7 minutes. I was like, I wonder maybe if we want.
Yeah, but I think
see that one.
I liked that because it then shows how disturbing this is to other people,
and that you can pull things into the real world. She's like, "Where'd you get that hat? What do you know about Fred Krueger?"
You don't need to show the dream to explain. Oh, there's a way that she can get him now.
And I love that she's yelling at her mom. The fact that she knew about Fred the whole time. And didn't tell him.
Yeah, that's weird too, though.
Yeah, it is.
Like the mom telling her this, like, what does that do for anything? Like, it gives the audience an understanding of the story, but the mom tells her this as if like to say, "Well, if I would have told you earlier, you would have never had these dreams."
You would have never slept. No, he's hunting you because of what your parents did.
How does he find out about them to hunt them down in the first place? They should have had a catalyst. Maybe she finds the glove in the basement.
Yeah, it just starts with Tina dreaming and him terrifying her right in the beginning.
Yeah, there was no reason for him to start. So
I mean, it's the same town he lived in, probably. So I don't know.
Whatever, it's a phenomenon.
Yeah, it's supernatural. That's the thing.
But I'm just saying, how did they make it better? That's all. I'm just thinking.
All right,
like I'm an armchair quarterback. This is what we're doing.
No, but overall. I mean, some of the bad stuff is also part of the charm of the movie, right? It's funny. It's a fun time. Anthony, final thoughts. Give me a number. What would you rate this thing?
I have a pretty similar rating to Halloween last week. Actually, I would have boosted Halloween's rating up. I think did I say an 8 or a 9? I'm not sure what I said last week.
Said 8. You might have said 9.
Maybe said 9.
Yeah,
might have said 9. This one I'm going to go with 8.
Okay.
I had a great time with the movie. It is stupid at some points. Yeah. I think generally a lot of horror movies can be pretty stupid, so I forgive some stupidity with horror movies. But overall, I think this one, especially when you compare it to what was out there at the time, it's different. It adds that supernatural aspect. It adds the concept is genius. The practical effects are really well done. The fucking kills are iconic. And it introduces a character that stood the test of time. Yeah. So I liked it. I was surprised how much I enjoyed watching that movie.
Yeah, Ruggs. What about you?
I think overall, it has a lot going for it. It's got good kills. It's got a good setup. It's got good lore. But then on the other hand, you got some really terrible acting and a kind of shaky Freddy. Like, I'm not really 100% on Freddy. Yeah. I like the idea. Yeah. I like the design. I like everything, but I just don't like the execution of how it was written and acted. Overall, though, the ending being kind of shaky aside, I think, yes, it was entertaining, and I was, I was enjoying myself while I was watching it. I did expect more because for some reason, when I watch these like seminal movies, like the ones that start things, I'm always looking for that like genius that starts it. And I felt like it's there, but it wasn't like walloping me in the face. It was kind of like, okay, I got to search for this a little bit more. And so with that said, I'm going to give it a 7, which is a recommend.
Yeah.
So, which is a decent score.
Man, yeah, no, I agree with all your guys' sentiments. I'm going to give it the same score. I give Halloween 8.5, even though I think Halloween is a little more focused and maybe like a better made movie.
I think it's more effective as a horror movie.
Yeah.
I feel like I felt more scared after that.
Yeah.
I felt like more fear.
Yeah. But
after that.
But iconic character, iconic death scenes. It's a lot of fun. It mixes up the genre. Again, this also, if you didn't have this, you don't get to Scream, especially with Wes Craven, but it adds so much to the culture, and just like Freddy stuck out to me always. So yeah, it was a fun time. 8.5. I'm like, all right. Okay, well, let's find out what the listeners thought. We're going to do News from the Nation. It's time for News from the Nation. It's time for News from the Nation.
That's like 2 farts for the price of one, right?
It stinks.
Well, it was 2 farts happening at the exact same time.
Whoa, that was in stereo. Regarding Freddy, Jose Ibarra says, I have seen this movie so many times and still enjoy it every rewatch. The practical effects with 2 of the most iconic deaths in horror make me smile every time. The spinning room for Tina's death and the blood for Glenn's are epic. This movie, coupled with part 3, Dream Warriors, makes for the perfect double feature. Skip part 2, it's ass, is his suggestion.
A lot of people say
That's what I've heard. I also read like it doesn't really follow the rules he established in the first movie, and kind of it's all over the place. So, and then Pete Matza says, I love that you guys are doing horror movies.
There you go.
It's good to know. Good to know. Steve Morrison commented, I'm still waiting for that Another Wolf Cop review. You know you wanna.
That'll probably be a Patreon rolling.
Well,
review.
it's going to have to be because Lisa Morrison sub-commented, OMG, Imran, please, for the love of God, review this fucking movie so I don't have to hear him grumbling.
He's grumbling about
anymore.
it. He's really
she
salty.
Says, I'll
about
pay you an extra $10.
Oh, we don't want you to be salty.
Look, I think we have our mission. The mission is to save Lisa Morrison. We must save Lisa Morrison, and
we'll do it for Patreon.
Yes, absolutely. That is a Patreon review. Another Wolf Cop. Morrisons, don't worry. We are coming to save you, to give you the satisfaction, the release you need, that you desire. Yeah, we're gonna get there. We have to say it's mission save Lisa. So that's what we're gonna do. That's our.
It's October. We could probably pull it out.
October, November, whatever. It's all spooky because the leaves are changing color. Okay, let's finish up with some. What are we watching, Anthony? Watching anything?
Just a lot of football.
There is a lot of football.
College football, pro football. It's football season.
They play multiple football games on the same day. Did you know that? It's crazy.
Football, baseball, my balls.
My balls.
Oh,
my sweaty balls. All right. Anyways, Ruggs, you put up a couple of Patreon reviews. What'd you review this week?
I watched Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof. His installment. He made a shorter version for the Grindhouse double feature.
Robert Rodriguez, right?
Yes. And he made a longer version, which is like an extended version with other scenes and stuff.
Oh.
And I was like, I never saw that before, and I'm in the mood for some Quentin Tarantino. And boy, did I get it.
Lots of feet.
This is the most Tarantino-esque thing that I've ever seen. No, it's almost like a parody of Tarantino. It's like, I think he was doing like all of his cheesy Tarantino stuff. And I think he's graduated from that and gone out and done other things. Like even Kill Bill was a little bit more.
Yeah, I always thought Death Proof was a weird movie that he did.
Yeah. But I enjoyed it. It has a great chase scene. And then I think it's extended in this one. And it's like about a guy who kills girls with cars. His car. He's got a car that's all like reinforced. And he's a stunt driver, and I don't know, maybe his dick doesn't work. I don't know exactly why he does it, but he follows girls around and then goes and talks to them, and then on their way home, when they're all getting in their car, he just fucking rams into them and kills them.
Okay.
And they fuck with the wrong girls.
Yeah.
He fucks with the wrong girls because they pick up, he follows these girls around a movie set, and two of the girls that are with them are stunt girls. And so they don't know how to drive as good as he does. And there's some wild shit that happens. And then it just ends. It just ends in the most abrupt way. But there's a great scene where Kurt Russell, he plays the bad guy. And when the tables are turning on him and he gets injured for the first time, and knows that the jig is up, he starts freaking out. And that's kind of great. He's a great Kurt Russell freak out. So, yeah, I recommend that one. It's fun. Not a great movie by any means. Probably one of Quentin Tarantino's worst movies, but still a Quentin Tarantino movie nonetheless. And that makes it better than most movies.
Yeah.
And I saw that. Okay. And then I saw Bad Boys Ride or Die.
Oh, you saw Bad Boys 4. You seen the third one?
I've seen them all now.
Okay.
So this is
it's on Netflix now. So
it's on Netflix.
I've been meaning to watch this. I have not gotten around to it.
It's as good as the other one.
Yeah.
So
I like
the
3.
third one.
Bad Boys for Life was very good.
Solid. Yeah. I mean, it's a Bad Boys movie. Yeah. It's not going to be great. It's going to be a Bad Boys movie. Bad Boy movies are good. They're not like the greatest action movies, because there's a lot of comedy. It leans heavily on the comedy. So, but the action scenes are well done. They're polished. They definitely have a budget. They're not they have talented people in this movie. There's a couple of funny lines, but the best scene is with Reggie. In this movie, Reggie's the best. There's a great surprise scene, and then what they do with that afterwards is funny.
Wait, who was Reggie? Was the son? His son?
Yeah, he's the son-in-law.
Oh, the son-in-law. Right.
Yeah, he yells at all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give it away because it's fun, but it's a fun scene with him. And you remember
he had a great scene in the other movie, where they were interrogating
every time
him.
they fuck with Reggie, it's great.
Yeah.
And it's just basically the son. There's a whole conspiracy going on. There's corrupt politicians, corrupt cops, corrupt military, and Joey Pants, who was the captain, in his death leaves basically a message to Will Smith and Martin Lawrence to finish this case, and they're going to besmirch his name. They're going to blame him for everything, but they're only going to blame him because he's got the goods on them, and so they have to go and bust out Will Smith's son, who's in jail, who actually killed the captain, to help them, because it's all cartel. It all has to do with the corruption. Has to do with cartels, and he's a cartel guy. And he's like, well, if you help us, we'll figure this shit out. And so that makes it everybody's now gunning for them, and they're on the run. And that's the movie. I don't want to give up too much.
The action scenes are always well choreographed. So it's a Dylan Bilal directors who did the last one. They did an episode of Miss Marvel. And I do like their style of their action scenes.
It's wacky. Yeah. They do get really creative. They use a lot of drone footage. They use a lot of cool camera moves. They're swinging their shit around.
Yeah, this is that movie.
It's fun.
He had Will Smith had this crazy rig. He was operating his own camera. It was like a point of view first person camera. So if he was holding up a gun, the camera was on his arms and it was right in his face, but then he could flip the camera real quick. And now you saw his hands and the gun, like a first person shooter point of view.
It's cool, but it doesn't really, that's more gimmicky than cool to me. Yeah. If it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I'd give me a well shot kick to the face every time. Or if you're Van Damme, well shot kick to the face, then just shoot the guy 10 times and then kick him again.
while you're kicking him,
while you're flipping in the air and on fire,
shooting him and kicking him. I do love how every movie they have a really colorful action sequence, with the neon lights and the paint or colors, or
they got all that. It's all here.
Yeah, so I'm gonna check it out. It's 2 hours on the Netflix. I checked out this Netflix movie called Woman of the Hour. It just came out, and the reason it caught my eye is because it is stars and directed by Anna Kendrick, who you may know. She's really cute. She can sing. She's in the Pitch Perfect movies. She's always great and stuff I've seen her in, but I was like, oh, she's directing. So I had to check this out. It is about a real life story of this serial killer who ends up on the dating game. And this girl who's a struggling actress, her agent books her on the dating game and she ends up picking him. And that's just one of the stories. It's really kind of a bunch of stories jumping through time. And what she does here is instead of following the serial killer guy, she gives you backstory on the victims and how they end up meeting him. So you meet all these different women real quick throughout before and after the whole main story of the dating game. But I got to tell you, it's a proper thriller. Like, the tension was great. I didn't really know what happened, but it's based off this real serial killer, Rodney Alcala. And I thought she did a really good job. The 70s setting, the clothes, the vibe, the attitudes, it's all there. It was a good thriller. It's decent. Yeah. It's only an hour and a half. It's not long. And you get to, if you like true crime shit, it's kind of it does the job. So that's about it. That's about it, as well as watching.
I heard about that killer.
Yeah. You have Rodney Alcala?
Yes, I've heard about the guy.
Yeah, he was a photographer.
The dating game killer.
Yeah, and I don't know how he ended up on the show, but Bachelor number 3 is a serial killer. That's about it. Along with just watching Only Murders and other things franchise. I checked out the new episode. That show it's okay. I'm waiting for it to like get really funny.
It's not. So it's just all right.
All right. Yeah. I don't know what it is. It's just all right, but it's building to something. It's just okay. That's all we got. Ruggs, where can the listener find you?
You can find me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, a Rug Boy Show.
Oh, I forgot to give us everybody's homework this week because there is a movie coming out that we will be reviewing, and that is Venom: The Last Dance, out this week.
Oh shit!
I bought my ticket. So it's kind of a horror movie. I don't know. Won't be a horror movie.
It's going to be a horrible movie.
It's going to be a horrible movie. Yes, it'll be goofy.
It's not a horror movie. What the hell?
I don't know. It's Venom. I'm trying to be scary. Venom 3. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Null is a big deal. We'll see if they're trying to shoehorn shit from the MCU or if this really is the last dance for Venom. That's your homework. Anthony, where can the listener find you watching Venom?
Well, I have to try to squeeze this in.
Oh, boy.
I am going to Portland this weekend.
Oh, shit.
Shout out to Jose Ibarra for hooking me and my friends up with passes to the Nike employee store.
Ooh.
But I will be in Portland and Eugene, Oregon to see the school I graduated from, the Fighting Illini of University of Illinois, play the Oregon Ducks.
Holy shit, the Jock and Jose Ibarra in Oregon, huh? That's going to be fun.
Well, I don't think I'm hanging out with him, but he did hook up the Nike passes.
We should try to meet up, figure out how to meet up. And then, they got movie theaters out there. Just fucking watch the movie.
Well, I'm not seeing the movie out there, that's for sure.
God damn.
He's got limited time, Imran.
I see. Squeeze it in. We'll talk about Venom.
Squeeze it in either Thursday or Monday.
Have a fun trip. That sounds like it'll be a fun time. In the meantime, listener, check out our website, jockandnerd.com, for all the links in the episode description. We got links on how to support, how to follow, all that stuff, how to follow Ruggs on X. Thank you for listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
We'll beep you next time.
That's a big fuck up right there. It's always longer than I think it's going to be.
Yes. I see that you know your judo well.
Jock and Nerd.